It's now Democratic governors joining with Democratic attorneys general that are firing back at Donald Trump to try to protect democracy. Now we have new reporting that JB Pritzker, the governor of Illinois and somebody who wants to be a president one day, has decided to issue a directive blocking from state employment all those who participated in the Jan 6th insurrection. So if you were pardoned by Donald Trump for your crimes, you're not going to be working for the state of Illinois, and they employ over 53,000 people. There were more than 40 or 50 people in the Jan 6 insurrection alone who are Illinois residents. This is the blueprint for how we resist. This is how we exploit federalism, states' rights, states' power against an out-of-control federal president. By saying you want to pardon him for crimes, you want to pardon them from and release criminals and convicted criminals and those who have records and child pornographers from jail, they're not going to work for the individual states. And we're looking for the Democrats to stand up now. This is one small part of the fight against Donald Trump. It's important, and I'm reporting on it here on Legal AF. First, let me read to you from the directive by JB Pritzker, because I do believe it provides a roadmap for how other Democratic governors should act. And I'm not surprised because JB Pritzker, I think he's trying out right now. This is tryout season for the Democrats about who is going to lead against Donald Trump. We know that Gavin Newsom from California is. It will likely be in the Democratic primary in less than 4 years. In 3 years, will be in the primary season. And now I know JB Pritzker is too. Listen to what he wrote on just today, or yesterday on January 30th. To his Director of Central Management Services. Dear Director DeVaughn, one of my most important duties as governor is protecting public safety in the state of Illinois. Recently, Donald Trump issued more than 1,500 clemencies and pardons for individuals who were convicted or accused of rioting at the Capitol on Jan 6. These rioters attacked law enforcement officers protecting the people in the Capitol, disrupted the peaceful transfer of power, and undermined bedrock principles of American democracy. These rioters were accused or convicted of a combination of felonies and misdemeanors, including but not limited to violence against law enforcement officers. I am committed to building a state workforce that upholds our shared values and delivers results for the people of Illinois. Our state workforce must reflect the values of Illinois and demonstrate honesty, integrity, and loyalty to the taxpayers. No one who attempts to overthrow a government should serve in government. And therefore, he directs the CMS, this office, to apply the state personnel code and consider any participation in the January 6th insurrection as infamous and disgraceful conduct that is antithetical to the mission of the state. Thank you for your leadership. Now, look, I don't think this is an idle exercise. I think it's an important exercise as the Democrats, whether they're attorneys general or they're governors, are starting to flex their muscle and clear their throats for a robust response as a counterpoint and counterweight to Donald Trump. It's not make weight, it's counterweight. It's important that the governors step up, show their leadership, and lead in this time of darkness. Lead us to the light. One of the things I say about Legal AF and this new channel is that, in quoting a contributor that's been on here before, we have to speak truth to each other, right? Before we can speak truth to power, all simultaneously, all at the same time. But to have a state like Illinois step forward with the leadership and guidance and courage of JB Pritzker, who I'm sure is now going to be MAGA attacked and Trump attacked. I didn't even wait for the social media posts from Donald Trump, so I didn't really even care. You know, I can write them for you. They're all phony. They all, it's all boilerplate word salad. Oh, the failed Democratic, liberal, Democratic governor of Illinois should worry more about the crime sprees in Chicago than about not allowing Americans that I've absolved of any prosecutions related to the weaponization of the Department of Justice and so on and so on. Did I get it about right? But why is this important? Why am I covering the attorneys general who have filed, about 22 of them, in 4 different jurisdictions and courthouses and have already obtained in 10 lawsuits two temporary restraining orders against Donald Trump in the first 12 days? We're averaging a case a day against Donald Trump and his administration. It will double and triple as time goes on over the next quarter, I assure you, and I will cover it all here on Legal AF. Why? Why is it important? Because we can't resign to the trash bin of history that 1,500 people, including not just ones that were convicted of crimes then, who have now allegedly been absolved by Donald Trump, but many of them are still in jail or about to go back to jail for other crimes they've committed just before Jan 6th or just after Jan 6th. One Jan 6th defendant is already dead because he decided that the next best thing to do after storming the Capitol 4 years ago was to attack law enforcement again, this time in a normal, run-of-the-mill traffic stop, and died as a result. We've got since Donald Trump did no vetting, no people around him did any due diligence. He ended up releasing people that were convicted of child pornography or went on to be convicted or arrested for child pornography. Those are the people that are now back on the streets. If you had a neighbor who lived right next to you with a flimsy fence between you and that person, and you knew that that person had gone to the Capitol, had picked up a flagpole and beaten law enforcement almost to death, had defecated inside the Capitol, had without any concern, without any remorse, fought hand-to-hand combat with law enforcement trying to protect the cradle for our democracy, would you lend that person a lawnmower? Would you let them date your daughter or son? Would you offer them a cup of sugar? Or would you double lock your doors at night and put a security fence around everything and maybe even try to pick up a gun or a weapon under the Second Amendment? Is that what you would do? That's what I would do if I had somebody living next to me that had just been released. That's not a badge of honor. And states like Illinois are going to lead the way. It's important. I reject that there has been a magnification of the United States and we've turned red overnight. This is still the country that voted for Barack Obama twice, for Joe Biden once, for Bill Clinton twice. This is still the country that can be unified around things that aren't just BS populist messaging by a fascist president who is already showing the signs of mental disability, depravity, and the fact that he has no executive going on in the executive function, if you know what I mean. We're 12 days in, folks. How do you like what's going on so far? If you told me he was trying to purposefully tank the American economy, I would say, you're right, looking at his policies, domestic and foreign, including the new trade war he's established with our top two trading partners. If you told me that he was trying to show that he has absolutely no respect, he was lifting his leg against the rule of law with the release of 1,500 people he didn't even bother to vet and put back on the street, I would say you're right about that. We're on day 1213. He already looks gassed and fatigued. They're handing him talking points from who knows where off stage, so he reads them out loud, blaming the terrible American Airlines crash with the Army helicopter on wokeness, creating a fictitious disabled black or brown air traffic controller who crashed the plane into the helicopter or vice versa, when it had more to do with budget cuts under Donald Trump than any type of woke policy that's been on the website of the FAA since the Trump FAA and beyond. The governors have to lead. The attorneys general have to lead, which they're doing. Public interest groups like the NAACP and the ACLU, Democracy Forward, Court Accountability Action, and the rest, they have to lead. And they're doing it. They're up for the challenge. We have to be in support. If this was a military operation, we are the support team. Yeah? The food, the water, the housing, the logistics, the trucking, the infrastructure. We're the support team here on Legal AF, the Midas Touch Network, our audience. Without our support, without our public speaking out in public, not being a silent majority any longer. The days of silent majority are over. We have to have our voices heard. This is like, as I said before, like the movie Network from the 1970s. Throw open the window now. Stick your head out the window and say you're not going to take it anymore. You're mad as hell. This is the mad as hell moment. Led by these people in the public service, in support of our democracy, where we've got the rear flank and we're guarding them. That's what we've come together here on Legal AF and the Midas Touch Network. Follow me, Michael Popok. I curate this channel. We call it Legal AF for a reason, in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. Hit the free subscribe button. Follow me on Legal AF on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the leading podcast at the intersection of law and politics. And pick us up on podcast platforms of your choice. I have a brand new podcast where I can talk like this, talk truth to power. I don't take prisoners. I give answers. I take questions. Popok Live, Tuesday nights on the YouTube channel for Midas Touch. So until my next reporting, this is Michael Popok standing in opposition with you, because we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it any longer. Shout out to JB Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, profile and courage today with saying he's not going to stand for the hiring of Jan 6 insurrectionists. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.